So round one of the Rugby Championship is nearly here and the prediction series is back. This is where we try and predict the starting lineup and reserves for the All Blacks each and every week. In this game, it is up against Argentina, taking place in Argentina. And this will be an interesting lineup for the ABs. They've got quite a few players out with injury. They're playing Argentina. They cannot underestimate this Los Pumas side. It should be a fantastic fixture to watch. With me today, it is Rugbyitch. We were doing our predictions all throughout the last Rugby Championship. First of all, mate, how are you going? And are you excited for this match between Los Pumas and the ABs?
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. Very excited for this one. I mean, last year, I'd definitely say like this game. I think this was probably the best game I'd say last year in terms of like the Argentina All Blacks game where the Pumas won at the end of the day. I think that was like the one that got me the most excited after that result, because it's what I always look back at now. It's just it was just a great game to kind of watch overall, because there's some good tries in there, some good kicking, to say the least, from both sides. But yeah, no, I'm really excited to see what happens in this game, because I can't remember the last time the All Blacks was played within Argentina, because it's been a long time ago. It's been a very long time.
Yeah, because last year I think it was Australia played in Argentina. I think the Springboks also played in Argentina, didn't they?
Like in the year before, I think it was within all the games within Australia, right? Because that's the year the Argentina beat the All Blacks for the first time. But I think it's like the year before that. That's the last time the All Blacks traveled to Argentina.
Yeah, the crowd will certainly bring that atmosphere to the game, and it should be absolutely electric. Looking through at our starting lineup prediction, we're going off the same scoring as last year, so there's a total of 50 points available for us. Of course, the best you can do is getting the 2 points for one player being in the right position. We'll start with our 4-pack. We'll start with the front row. Who have you got as your 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm on a pretty strong front row. There is probably a big change in here, because I am going off the form which I saw within Super Rugby, and I think he deserves to get in. So I have one that likes to for the Groots, number one. I think he's going to be the number one. I think that's the best choice there. And obviously, with the amount of injuries they have in that position, I think it's just guaranteed, really. But the number 2, this is actually where I'm going Cody Taylor. So I actually haven't gone with somebody so they took a lot of the start. I don't know. I think Cody Taylor really deserves to get back into the starting lineup now. I think he was just so impressive throughout the playoffs, where I was like, you got to kind of reward him for that. So that's the reason why I'm going number 2. And then for number 3. I've actually gone with Tyrell Lomax here, number 3. So, that's the front row I've chosen.
Okay, so I'm a little bit similar. Number 1, I have gone Ethan de Groot as well. I feel like his scrummaging early on in a contest could certainly put the Pumas under pressure. He might be going head-to-head with someone like a Santiago Marrano. But those two going head-to-head, I think, could be very entertaining. Number 2, I've actually gone Samisoni Taukei'aho.
Yeah.
Now, I have a little bit of reasoning behind it. Cody Taylor's in fantastic form. And I feel like more than likely New Zealand will be looking at him as someone who can start that game up against the Springboks.
Okay.
So what I'm thinking is Samisoni Taukei'aho starts this one. I've pretty much given away who I've got at number 16, but have Cody Taylor off the bench for this game to give him some minutes and then start him in the next game up against the Boks. That's my theory anyway, with who I've gone with there. And then number 3, I have once again, same as you, got Tyrell Lomax as my tight head prop. I actually had him starting a majority of last year, and I think he didn't do too badly in terms of those predictions, but he's had a pretty solid season for the Hurricanes throughout Super Rugby Pacific. And yeah, there's definitely a few good options at tight head prop. Couple out of form, such as a Tuangafasi or Nepo Lulala. That's why we've gone with Lomax, I assume, as the start. The number 4 and 5, the lock-in duo for the ABs. This is quite a hard one to predict. We know that Whitelock had a little bit of an injury throughout that Super Rugby Pacific final. Decided he would still play it, though, and helped his side towards the victory. I've got a Crusader, but it isn't Whitelock. Number 4 for me, I've gone with Scott Barrett as the start and 4 option. And then number 5, I have gone with Brodie Retallick. So I've gone with quite a lot of experience there. For a start, I had Brodie Retallick as my 4 and Tupavai as number 5. But then as I got further through, I realized that the only other position that Scott Barrett would be in is probably the 6th jersey, but I decided for this game, put him at lock, have a lot of experience there, and hopefully get the All Blacks off to quite a good start when it comes to the lineouts. How about yourself? Have you got some experience there, or have you gone with some younger players?
Yeah, well, this was a tricky one actually because I could have. There's a lot of players like you said, you can kind of go in that blocking position, but I actually have them with a pair which you mentioned. Not the same one as you, but I actually have them like Brody Metallic at number 4, but I actually have gone with Tubo Valai at number 5. I just think that they're going to rely on that Chiefs. I think that lineouts because I think it was pretty good. I'd say throughout the whole throughout the whole playoffs really. So I think that's kind of one that they kind of rely on. And again, those two a lot of chemistry ready. So I think that's going to be good for the All Blacks. Yeah, that's the two locks I've gone with.
Couple Chiefs. Now we move on to the loose forward trio, which could have theoretically 3 Chiefs players all in there, but I assume that is not what you have done by that face. Who have you got as your 6, 7, 8?
Yeah, unfortunately, no. I haven't gone with 3 Chiefs there, but I do have the one, of course. But no, I do have the likes of Scott Barrett's actually number 6. This is where I actually have gone with the number 6 because I just do think that he's one of those players where you can't really leave out because I think he's just so vital towards the Crusaders. And I think in terms of the All Black setup, I mean, Ian Foster loves using Scott Barrett number 6. So that's kind of the reason why I put him there. I mean, if it was me, I would have personally chose Shannon Mazel because I just think he's kind of a player which you can utilize in that position. But I'm trying to be a bit smart here, maybe try to pick up a points if I can. So that's the reason why I've gone with Scott Barrett there. But yeah, number 7, of course, Sam Kane. And that's a very easy selection there at the end of the day. And I think he really improved throughout the whole season, by the way, guys, throughout Super Rugby. So I don't think a lot of people will kind of had anything bad to say about him really, because he really impressed everyone throughout the whole season. So yeah, there's definitely not an argument you could say this time around, compared to him and Dodge about the lead, because I think at the end of the day, I think he was the better 7 out of the 2 for this season. So yeah, Sam Kane number 7, and then yeah, obviously number 8. I think it's a pretty simple loose wood trio.
So you're pretty confident?
Yeah, pretty confident about
that. Okay, fair enough. I've got a different number 6, mainly because your number 6 for me is at number 4, so I had to switch it up a little bit. I've got Shannon Frizzell as the starting 6. It's been a long time since we've seen that man in action, seeing as the Highlanders were knocked out early in the Super Rugby Pacific competition. I would have loved to put Sama Penny-Finau there, continue his great form, but I thought that for the All Blacks, normally, in terms of what they select, they do like to have those debutants coming off the bench rather than starting, just to relieve a little bit of that pressure and get the game set up before they do unleash them. As long as it's not a Stephen Petafeta scenario and give them 2 seconds at the end of the game, I'm sure Sama Penny-Finau, he'll do very well. Sam Kane, I have got him as number 7. Like you mentioned, it's definitely that battle between him and Papali'i at the moment. I know some people still want to see Savia transition back to that 7 jersey by the time the World Cup comes around, but I think now it's almost a little too late.
Exactly.
That boat slightly sailed, but you never know, they'll probably do it, because I think the unpredictability of the All Blacks was what was throwing us off last year. We thought we had someone in mind, and then they go with something completely different. But yeah, Sam Kane is my number 7 and the skipper, and then number 8, I have gone with Ardie Savia. Mainly because it's just very hard to have a loose forward trio without that man in it somewhere. Would have loved to have Jacobson, seeing as he's been in some pretty good form for the Chiefs throughout Super Rugby Pacific. But Savia, he's a physical ball of muscle, and he's going to be a handy player for the ABs in that 4-pack. Looking through at the 9-10 combo now. I've gone with quite a lot of experience here between the 2. I've gone number 9, Aaron Smith, and then I've gone number 10, Richie Mo'unga. Now, it was that big question of would it be Mo'unga or McKenzie or Barrett who starts at fly half? I think they'll start it off nice and early, get Mo'unga in that jersey, and then kind of see how he goes. And the reason I partnered him with Aaron Smith is you've got Christie and you've got Roygaard, a couple guys who haven't had a huge amount of time in the ABs. For this game up against Los Pumas, you want to start fast, you want to start well. And I think Aaron Smith definitely has the ability of adding that security, I guess you could say, to that All Blacks backline of knowing you're going to get a pretty solid performance out of your scrum half. Who have you got as your 9-10?
This is actually big because we actually have 2 different players in these positions. Again, I was thinking really, I'll be honest, guys, I was thinking more of the next game as well in terms of the box at home for the All Blacks, but also just in terms of what they can do this game and how they can set up. And I think, that's kind of the reason why I actually went with the likes of Finley Christie at number 9. I'm actually going with Damien McKenzie at number 10. So I actually have given McKenzie the 10 jersey just for this game because I want to see what he can do against, because because he hasn't played in the 10 jersey for a very long time. So I think the All Blacks, coaches will want to see what he can do really, because what could happen is that they may go with this is just me being hypothetical here, but like they could go with McKenzie for this game, then maybe choose Mwanga maybe for the Bok game, but then for the last game decide, okay, who do we think was the better performance overall, and then choose that guy really for that final game against the Wallabies. But I think Finley Christie can do a job here, and the thing is that I just don't think we'll get a lot of minutes in other games, so I just want to give him kind of an opportunity now to kind of just let him kind of just power through really, because he's one of those players who I think is really underrated in terms of what he does for the Blues, because they actually they use him a lot actually. They're kind of similar towards the Highlanders. I'd say I think other than the Highlanders, I think they're probably the second team in Super Rugby in terms of New Zealand teams who use their kind of scrum half the most. So I'd say Finley Christie can definitely be involved in a lot of the actions. Yeah, that's my 9-10 combo.
Right. Well, as long as he spends more time looking at the ruck than the ref, I'm sure the All Blacks will get some go forward ball. Looking through at the centre pairing now, 12 and 13. Who have you got as those two jerseys?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the obvious one, really. I mean, it's kind of similar towards the box one. I think there's you have to go with these two. I think you got to go with Jordie Barrett at number 12, and you got to go with Rico. You got to go with my guy, Rico, in this one. So Rico, he has to be in it. I mean, I saw this. I mean, there has been some talk again, as normal, where he should maybe go back towards that 11 jersey. But I just think you have to remember, guys, how good Rico now is at the number 13. I actually believe he's a better 13 now than what he was at 11, because he's been able to do things in this 13 jersey which no other player's been able to do, because his speed alone allows him. His speed alone allows him to kind of just get by players when they're on the attacking point of view. But his speed also allows him to kind of catch up to players. From a defensive perspective, and not all the players can do that. His speed alone gives him kind of an asset which not other centers have. And of course, Jordie Barrett, I mean, he just let alone has been playing that position for a lot now in terms of the Hurricane setup, and now within the All Blacks. So I think that will be the center combination. So,
And I know that they're lacking those options at number 12 due to some injuries that we have seen in the past. I know that some people would say that Jordie Barrett is not their starting 12 anymore, mainly because of what they saw from some of those later games of Super Rugby Pacific. They felt that maybe he struggled a little bit. But other than him, with the fact that Anton Leonard-Brown's out, the fact that Dallas McLeod's out.
You don't really have a 12. That's the thing with the All Blacks.
Really, unless they try and play a little bit of a two playmakers and have Barrett and Mwanga. As that is Bowden Barrett, that is.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit like we've seen England do in the past.
But that's where I don't want the All Blacks to fall into the England kind of I never want that to happen. Even if it comes towards I think that's what Australia might Australia is a team now that could set up that way, because now obviously they have Eddie Jones there. But I just don't think the All Blacks need to utilize that, because again, yes, they do have a lot of fly-up options, which they could do that if they wanted to, but they got to remember that the 12 is a very important position in terms of the midfield. And again, yes, they don't have the likes of Sonny Bill anymore. They don't have the likes of what was it, Naumanu in the past. Just all these players who could have filled that position. They don't really have that type of player now. I mean, the last one, in my opinion, was Lea Mape back in the day, but now obviously they didn't go with him for the Rugby World Cup, and they kind of just said, no, that's not the type of player we want. So it seems that they want more of a playmaker, but also someone who can actually just has that kicking ability. So I think Jordie Barrett just is that guy. So I think that's the guy they go with.
And that is actually who I've gone with as who I think they will go with as that number 12. Number 13, I have also gone with Rieko Ioane. Big honourable mention here to Braden Ennor. I feel like his second half of the Super Rugby season, he was playing very well. So they may consider him and a Barrett combo in the midfield, maybe, if they are still uncertain about where they want Rieko, or if they do want to save him for the upcoming game up against the Springboks. But yeah, I think that Jordie Barrett, Rieko Ioane at the moment is the combo that Ian Foster will be liking. Now looking at the back three, starting with myself, number 11, we know that there's no Lester Whainā-Nuku, which opens up the door for someone else. In this case, I've gone with Caleb Clarke. Now, I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, that he was even selected in the All Blacks squad from the get-go. And I mean, for you to say, as a Blues supporter as well. You know,
Look,
he didn't really light the world on fire, did he, throughout Super Rugby?
Yeah, I can't disagree because the thing is that there's other players who could have selected ahead of him, in my opinion. I mean, like the thing is that like you do have Sean Stevenson, of course, guys. You have to remember that he has been selected a part of the squad, but he's not technically, he hasn't technically been selected because he's more of an injury cover for Mark Talea for the meantime. But like he's someone I would have selected ahead of Caleb Clark going off the season because his form alone, he's been arguably one of the best players on form. So yeah, Clark is just one of those players where I understand why he's been selected because they obviously want more of a battering ram, I guess, in terms of that 11 jersey. And you do have the likes, you do have that with the likes of Lester Fayanku, and then you really want a replacement for him on the bench, which is Caleb Clark. So I understand the reasons why. And the thing with, I don't think long term here, but with Lester Fayanku obviously leaving after this year, it's going to be interesting to see if they go that same tactic for the future because that kind of could maybe, I don't know, hurt maybe Caleb Clark's chances. But for now, I think he's the guy you have to go with. So I think, yeah, I think he has to be that number 11.
I guess the other option you have got is Amoni Narawa, who is actually who I put on my right wing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, exactly. I was going to say, like, the only other player you can maybe go at number 11 if you want to is put Mark Talea there because he can fit the number 11. And he's someone very underrated, by the way, in terms of his strength. Because he can, even though he can glide from players, that also comes with his strength. So, yeah, I think Narawa was a good selection, though.
I think Mark Talea just jumps in a barrel of butter before a game.
Oh, he's just so good.
No one can tackle the man. It's like he just slips and slides through every tackle. And then in other games, it's as if he's forgotten to do that because sometimes he just gets halted every single time, doesn't he? Yeah. Which I think happened in the game, up against the Crusaders in the semi-final. We were able to shut him down.
To be fair, I think Marshall didn't have the balls much. I think that's really what it came down to. Like they didn't allow the Wingers to have possession in that game. So that's why I know from a defensive point of view, Mark Talea just wasn't on his, just wasn't at his best really against the Crusaders. Same with Caleb Clark, of course. But in terms of the attacking play, I mean, yeah, like we said, throughout the whole season, Mark Talea has been. He's been incredible. Like he goes like one direction. He's like, nope, I'm gonna do a 360 here, go around, lets two players miss it, just goes, oh, I'll just take that and just runs off. So no, it's brilliant to watch him play. But of course, he's obviously not available in the meantime, guys. So just remember that. But yeah, no. But who do you have at number 15 though? Who do you got with there?
Okay, so I've got Clark and Amoni Narawa, and then number 15, I've actually gone with Beauden Barrett. Now. This is not what I would do.
Unbelievable. Outrageous.
But with the absence of Will Jordan, Ian Foster will be like, well, I need to get 3 Barretts in there somewhere. So this is the perfect opportunity to put a Barrett in that may not have been in the starting side anyway. So that's why Beauden Barrett at 15. Like I mentioned, probably not what I would do. In an ideal world, I would have Sean Stevenson as my starting 15, or I would have him starting out on the right wing. I'm saying that right now, Sean Stevenson, I feel he should have been in the squad. So this is not so much what I would do, but this is what I feel the selectors will do. So it's hard because, my side would look a little bit different to this, I do have to say.
For me, actually, I mean, yes, I have one like to go Clark. I think that's kind of the easy selection at the end of the day with Lester Fayanku out for this particular game. So he is my number 11. But yeah, for the number 14, I actually did go with Sean Stevenson. I think this is where you kind of just give him a chance because I think it's one of those with the amount of players who are out at the moment. I just think you got to give him an opportunity somehow. And I think with Mark Talea out, I think it just makes even more sense to give him an opportunity now than later. So yeah, he's my number 14. And then similar to you, I've got my Beauden Barrett to number 15. It really, again, you guys know, I've said this countless times in terms of who I think is the number 15 for the All Blacks. I think it's Will Jordan. He has to be the number 15 for the future. He is the best 15 the All Blacks have. He is the best 15. He could become the best 15 in the world if he had to. But the thing is that Ian Foster just doesn't like having an actual player like that in his 15, which is just so frustrating to see because he would be the best player in the world, I think, guys, if he played number 15 jersey consistently. But yeah, you never know. Maybe that's the play, maybe for the future when Scott Robinson takes over. But for now, I think Beauden Barrett, he's probably the guy they have to go with because, like you said, they have to have 3 Barretts, and that's kind of a ritual they have to have it, a part of the culture of the of a starting lineup. But But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to discount Buddy Barrett because again, he hasn't had as good as a season compared to the last one. Because again, a lot of the Blues players were just amazing last year. But this year, I mean, he still has been pretty good. But again, most of his mids have come from the 10 jersey, not from the 15. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts in that sense. But yeah, Buddy Barrett, the 15, got to go with it for now. For now.
Fair enough. Hopefully, Will Jordan's not out for too long. And yeah, see, that's the thing. Some of these players who haven't gone to Argentina are also, I believe, not available for the game up against the Springboks. And the injury list is already quite long for the ABs. You know, we're looking at 10 players. Or it just kind of depends on how they progress.
Are they not going to be available for Mockhead?
I know that I think Fletcher Null's out for a little bit longer. He's one of the players who are still travelling. Talia's a bit of a question mark. But yeah, Whainā Nuku, I think it depends because I think he's also a calf strain. But
I hope so much he doesn't play. He's like him and Amon are the pain of my existence at the moment in terms of a Blues fans. I don't want them to go against the Box.
Yeah, because you're more of a Box than an ABs guy, aren't you, as well?
That's not even a question. I'm definitely more of a Box fan than the ABs. The only time I'll support the ABs, like if they're against like I don't know, if they're against like England, I'll be like, okay, you got to support the ABs. I don't want England to win, but
fair ch. Where do you live at the moment? Just out of curiosity.
I don't know. Yeah, unfortunately, I live in Manchester, England, guys. But but no, I mean, look, I'm a Box fan for. I'm not gonna. There's never a doubt in terms of me supporting them. But no, I mean, the All Blacks always have a soft spot for, of course. But I think I really only support the All Blacks when it comes towards like, oh, there's a Southern Hemisphere team versus a Northern Hemisphere team. I think that's really the only way I support them. But if it's like against any other Southern Hemisphere team, I'm gonna support the other Southern Hemisphere team. To be perfectly honest, so it's just kind of the way it goes. But
alrighty, I will keep it in mind. Now looking through at the reserves bench, number 16, 17, and 18. Who are your front row replacements that you've gone with up against Los Pumas?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something pretty standard to say at least. We're going to have, I think, the same players here, if I'm not mistaken, besides one. I'm going to definitely have, Simpson Tekalaho as my backup hooker because again, I've chosen to come off the bench this time. I have one like Tamati Williams. I think he's going to be the cover really because he can fit both of the prop positions if it's the tight head or the loose head. So I think he's going to be my my loose head for this one. And then for my tight head, I am going to go likes of Ofatunga Fassi. So pretty standard. I think that's what they're going to do.
Pretty standard. 2 differences from myself. Ooh. So for me, I have got Cody Taylor, number 16.
Okay.
For number 17, I have got Tamati Williams, just like yourself. But then number 18, I have gone with Nipololala.
Okay. I was like, who's the other guy? I was wondering, yeah.
Reasoning behind that is, we saw Tuanga Fassi playing quite a bit of loose head prop for the Blues, albeit not very well, but he was still loose head prop.
Oh.
He's been a little bit out of all. You've just had a brain memory.
You just reminded me of something. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to do this actually. I'm going to do this because you just reminded me of it. I'm actually going to switch to Mate Williams and Ofatunga Fassi around. So I'm keeping the same players, but I'm going to switch them around because the thing is that Tamati Williams does play more at the tight head than the loose head. And Ofatunga Fassi has been playing more at the loose head this season. So, yeah, you know what? I'm actually switching them around. So, even I'll switch it after so I remember my lineups, but that's what I'm going to do actually now. I'm going to do that.
Alrighty. So, yeah, I've decided to leave Ofatunga Fassi out. For me, it was kind of the case of him and Lulala, who had played the least bad, if that makes sense, near the end of the season. Unfortunately, it was not great from either of them.
Yeah.
But, I gave it to Nipololala. Hopefully he does all right in this game up against Argentina. Looking through at our locking replacements. Number 19, I have gone with Tupavai. So I didn't have him in the starting side, so instead have him coming off the bench here. And then number 20, I mentioned that I could have had him in the starting side at a stretch. That is Luke Jacobson as my AB's number 20. He's got the option of covering 6, 7, or 8. Is that the same as your number 20?
Yeah, there is one change. I have gone with Luke Jacobson at the number 20 spot for me. But for the number 19, I haven't actually gone with a lock because, again, I've kind of technically gone with 3 locks in terms of my starting lineup. So this is where I've actually gone with Sanapani Finau because I do believe he can get an opportunity here. And, again, you can maybe shift Barrett if you want to, maybe at the lock positions and then put Finau maybe at the 6. The thing is that Finau can also cover lock, by the way, guys. He actually can cover that. So if you need him to, you can definitely do the job. So, yeah, Finau number 19 and Luke Jameson number 20 for me.
Alrighty, so that leaves us 3 positions now, the back replacements, unless, of course, you've gone with a 6-2 split.
Not a chance.
No, neither. So we're all right there. Number 21, 22, 23, who have you got?
Yeah, so for number 21, I've actually given an opportunity for Cameron Wargard. I want to see a lot of players get an opportunity in this game. So I have gone with Cameron Wargard, number 21. Number 22, this is actually where I've gone with Brandon Enor, because I just think he's a player that can cover, obviously, a lot of positions for the All Blacks in terms of the back line. You can do 12, 13, or 14 if needed. So I just think he's a great player overall to have. And then, number 23, this is actually where I've gone with Amoni Nara, because I just think he's a player you have to have in somehow. And again, I was actually considering of starting him actually in this game, but I just thought Sean Stevenson he's been so incredible this year that I feel like you have to give him an opportunity in this game, and I just wanted to give him a start. So that's the reason why I've gone with Amoni Nara off the bench. So yeah, that's what's starting 23 there.
Okay, so number 21, I am the same as you, Cam Roigard. I think he's had a fantastic Super Rugby Pacific season, and I'm curious to see what he can do off the bench in an international game, because we've seen for the Hurricanes, he can find gaps around that breakdown
he's incredible.
That not too many halfbacks in the competition could find, so that might be hugely beneficial for the ABs later on in a contest. Number 22, I've gone with Damian McKenzie. Now, I feel like I would have had him as my starting 10 had Brad Weber been in the All Black squad, because I would have gone with the Weber-McKenzie 19 combo, but because they didn't select Weber, that is why I have decided to have McKenzie off the bench instead, and he's got that option of 10 or 15, depending on what they decide to do. And then number 23, I have got Braden Enor there, so maybe resting Rieko Ioane near the back end of the game so that he's fresh for the game up against the Box. Once again, though, not what I would have done. I would have had Sean Stevenson somewhere in my 23. I have a feeling, though, with the ABs, I don't know why, it just seems to give me Feta flashbacks. How it's like,
you've got to go over here.
I've got to, but will they? That's the problem. Will they be like a guy who we almost had in as an injury replacement, who we've only said slightly in our team? Are we going to give him the crack?
That is true.
And I hope they do.
Because of how well he's played within Super Rugby. But I just been like, if out of all the 3 games, if you're going to do it in one of those 3 games, I think it has to be this game. So I just feel like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe he gets a start, or maybe off the bench for another game. But yeah,
I hope he does get the crack at some stage soon, because the thing is, he's missing the All Blacks game, or the All Blacks XV game up against Japan for this matchup.
Yeah.
So that would have been a game that I'm sure he would have been able to play very well in. Yeah. So if they're going to take him all the way to Argentina and you've got injuries, just give him a go. I hope that I'm wrong. That is one thing I will say. I hope that I have got it very wrong there for no Sean Stevenson. But nonetheless, we do thank you all very much for tuning in to this prediction. Do let us know your All Blacks starting lineup and reserves in the comments down below. The game, it is going to be taking place at 7:10 a.m. on Sunday morning, New Zealand time. Nice early morning one for us Kiwis, although some of us may already be up for that 3:05 a.m. game between the Box and the Wallabies. But I do thank Rugbyitch once again for coming on the channel, mate. Hugely appreciated. His link will be down in the description below. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We will see you all for the next one.